In the Kutei Sichas Chelik Yud, there is in Parsha Tehilim, the first Sikh of the Parsha Tehilim, after the Sikh is printed, then there is a Heisofe to Omed 75, to the second Ha'orah, which means to the Shule Agilion of Ha'orah 31, and it's in a different font. It's not two columns, it's one column, and it's smaller words. It's completely different. I just want to explain the background of where this comes from, how it happened. So let me start all the way from the beginning. I heard from somebody once that the Rebbe told him on Yechidus, or he heard from somebody else who the Rebbe told on Yechidus. But basically, the Rebbe told somebody on Yechidus a word, which we don't have by Fabrengen. I never heard it by Fabrengen, never saw it in the letter. He gave me a remez to this minig that the Baal Shem Tov said that you have to say the Kapitel Tehilim according to your age. If you're 13, you say Kapitel Yudalet, etc., etc. So the Rebbe gave him an interesting remez. The remez is that in Tehilim, Kapitel Ayin Beis finishes off with the words Kolu Tfilis David ben Yishai. Kapitel Ayin Beis, the Kapitel 72, finishes off with the words that the Tfilis of David were finished, which means David said that when he finished, which means when he passed away. And this is Kapitel Ayin Beis. The Gemara says in Brochas that Kapitel Aleph and Kapitel Beis are really one Kapitel. So Be'emes, Kapitel Ayin Beis is really Kapitel Ayin Aleph. David, when he passed away, he was 70 years old. So we see when he was 70 years old, he said Kapitel Ayin Aleph. So that's a remez that you have to say the Kapitel according to your age. So this person told this to me, so it sounded like a very good word, and the Rebbe said it. And I came over to Rabbi Leibel and I said, this is a word that the Rebbe said, it's nowhere, it's going to get lost. So I think next time when you write in the Sikh, and he was writing in the Kutei Sichas then, when it comes to an inyan in the Kutei Sichas, which this meaning is mentioned, add this is a word from the Rebbe. Like sometimes, when the Rebbe there would be an inyan in the Sikh, and the Rebbe in another time explained other protim, added things to it, they would put it in, even though it's not from that same Fabrengen. So here too, I said, please add it in. So Rabbi Leibel tells me I'm afraid to do it because the Peil Mamish, Kapitel Aleph and Beis are considered two Kapitelach, so it doesn't fit to the way we have it. And if I put this in, the Rebbe is not going to like it. He's going to start asking, how did you write such a thing when it's only two Kapitelach? It's not Kapitel Ayin Aleph, it's Kapitel Ayin Beis. He doesn't want to write it because he doesn't want to basically start up, he said. The Peil, when it came to the other Sichas after Lamed Gimel, so then a group of us started writing the Sichas, and I was writing one Sicha, and this is in Parshas Tehilim, in Chelik Yud, and this talks about, the Sicha talks about this inyan, about there's an inyan of the saying, the Rebbe is Masbir, why Kapitel Peyalev is connected to becoming 80 years old, so the Rebbe spoke about this. So I took the opportunity, and I wrote a little Ha'orah, taken from the Rebbe's words that the Rebbe said, when it says here that when you become to 80, you start saying Kapitel Peyalev, according to the meaning of the Baal Shem Tov that said that you have to say the Kapitel. And then I added a Shula Agilion to that Ha'orah, which the Ha'orah was stamped to say that this is the meaning of the Baal Shem Tov, this remez, that the remez from the Kapitel Ayin Beis. And the Sikha went in. And this was Tavshin Lamed Daled already. I was in Miami when I wrote the Sikhas from here, and I wrote this, and they gave it in. When the Rebbe was Magiyah the Sikhe, the Rebbe took that little Ha'orah where it said just the remez and this, and made it so long, added so much to it, added that even though Lepel it's Ayin Beis, not Ayin Aleph, but there are a lot of places where we find two types of counting, like Lamoshel. In Gemara, we know there are Shishim Mesichtes, Lepel there are Samach Gimel. And other things that we find that there are more, Lafil in Chumash, we know there are 5 Chumoshim, really there are 7 Chumoshim, because Vahibin Say itself is considered a Chumash for itself. So we find in other things different. Even in Chumash we find that it says Gans Dorim that I said there are 53 Dorim, really there are 54. So there are different. And the Rebbe went into a whole ariches with all kinds of things that the Rebbe wrote, added to make this order a very big order. Shabbos by Fabrengen, the Rebbe spoke about it. Exactly like Rabbi Leibel predicted. And this just shows that Rabbi Leibel had a real chush understanding the Rebbe's ways. So the Rebbe said by Fabrengen that this was written in the Sikha that came out for that Shabbos. But Lepel, it's not so. Lepel, our meaning is it's Kapitel, it's Aleph and Beis are 2, not 1. And he said, even though it says in the Ha'orah, it's L'chedude, Chedude means only a sharp word, but it's not simple pshat. Nevertheless, it has to be gehalten. So the Rebbe went on to explain a whole ariches. What is the difference whether it's Kapitel Aleph and Beis are 1 Kapitel or 2 Kapitelach, and why it used to be 1 and it became now it's 2. A whole ariches. And after Shabbos, the Rebbe gave over to the Valif of the Sichas. There wasn't the writing look at the Sichas that they should write up the Sicha that he wrote, that he said, and he will be magiyit, and it should be added as a sofer to the Sicha. And that's why in Chelik Yud and Parashas Tehilim, there's this ha'ora, and then there's a big shula agilyon, and then at the end in a different font because it's a edition later, the whole sikha that the Rebbe said in the Farbrengen of Parshas still the Tovshin Lamed Dalet. I just want to mention that this whole sikha that the Rebbe said, it's a sikha on the Rashi and Parsha Tildes. But if you look at the end of the sikha, it says from which Farbrengen is it? It says Mesicha Shabbos Parshas Chayisora Tovshin Lamed. So someone asked me, it must be a mistake. It's a sikha on Tildes. Probably it was Parsha Tildes Tovshin Lamed. Why does it say Tovshin Chayisora Tovshin Lamed? So I explained to him that actually the Rebbe said it Parshas Chayisora. Because Tovshin Lamed, Parshas Chayisora, there was a regular Farbrengen, and the Rebbe spoke on a Rasha from the Parsha like he always did. And then he said, because of the birthday of Yedideinu, this Shazar's birthday was that next week, Parsha Tildes. So the Rebbe, especially for his birthday, his 80th birthday, the Rebbe on Parshas Chayisora, the Shabbos before, spoke a Rasha on Parsha Tildes in his honor. And then the Rebbe explained the union of 80 years old and the capital Tehilim and all the different things that he said then in Parshas Chayesoro benegei to Parsha Tildes. And that's why it says in the bottom, it says, when is it from? Sicha Shabbos Parshas Chayesoro Tovshin Lamed. It was stuck at Parshas Chayesoro, but he spoke on Chayesoro about the whole union of Tildes. But the point I was trying to make is benegei that ha'orah that came as a hemshech to this ha'orah benegei the remes for this minik.